The FarmElevate program is designed to help Western Australian farmers to build stronger, more sustainable businesses. The program is tailored and designed around a farm business plan to ensure that they have economic, environmental and wellbeing purposes. FarmElevate is jointly funded under the federal government and the state government. The federal component is from the Future Drought Fund, and the state component from the West Australian Government is through the Department of Primary Industry and Regional Development. This program falls under the Farm Business Resilience Program. A key component for FarmElevate at GGA was ensuring that our grower groups are actively involved, and they played a real advocacy role in ensuring that their producers were at the table. Everything Grower Group Alliance does ensures that the grower groups are actively involved, but also really leading from the ground up and ensuring that this program is fit for purpose. So whilst we had a fabulous collaboration with our business coaches, our consultants and also our industry experts, the grower groups played a leading role in ensuring they targeted the right producer for this program.
I think the FarmElevate program will fit any farm business. I think it's a business program more than a farming program. As farmers, I think we all end up in operations, and that's where we're just going to get stuck in our businesses really. And if we want to grow the business, we've got to get out and become farm managers and CEOs, and this course is really good for that.
My perception of farm business planning before the course varied a little. We initially had a huge business plan that we did many years ago, and I think it stayed in the filing cabinet, not brought out very often. Then finally, when we started looking at this new enterprise, I sort of developed something quite simple, but I knew we needed to do more, and so this program came at the most opportune time.
Farmers benefit from FarmElevate by having a very robust farm business plan. This business plan is designed to actually work for them and not sit on the shelf. A key component of that is ensuring that business plan has training and support, and to facilitate that throughout their business. Also part of the program is for growers to make sure they have the confidence to actually communicate this plan to their team. So it's really key that farmers are now have the skill to actually implement this plan in a really positive way for their business.
My overall experience with the program has been that all of the subjects that were covered are very diverse and very pertinent to running a family-owned business. The benefit for what we've learned in regards to a family-owned business is that sometimes you can get into that mindset of not running it as a well-functioning business. It becomes your farm, your family, your lifestyle. And I think that's the trap with a family business. You know, we can have a cup of tea, we can have lunch, we can waste time, but let's run this as a business and smarten up what we're doing, and the little things that we do are going to make a big impact in the end.
So the FarmElevate program has been really successful due to the coaching element of this program. The coaches play a critical role with supporting the businesses and the individuals through this process. It also connects them with an external person or external organisation that can support them through hard decisions.
We had a mentor visit the farm and help us or walk us through building a business plan. That was most useful because it brought things to the forefront that you need to focus on, so that you don't just drift along, you've got more of a focus and you can set your sights on achieving those goals in the given time. Some of those specific changes that we've taken on early is to start to think about how to employ someone on the farm to help me out. And also we wanted to include the community more in our farm and make our produce available. So we've started to sell locally, which has been really fantastic.
One of the key modules from the program I found was it was quite helpful getting a business coach and talking to them between the sections of the course. Probably the part I found most useful about having a business coach was having a realistic look at what the farm actually makes at the end of the day and how to plan around that. Found that to be beneficial in the way that it probably gave me a bit of a reality check in where farming is today. The economics are probably quite different to where they were several decades ago, which is where most farmers tend to live.
So the actual FarmElevate program was designed around 5 key areas. The first one actually being strategic business skills. Then the second module was looking at the finance management, and in terms of this is including finance and budgeting. Then moving on to risk and how risk is actually viewed and what risk growers are prepared to make. Then obviously importantly looking at the land stewardship with natural resource management. And finally, but certainly very importantly, the well-being of the family and the farm, and also how they connect with their community.
I didn't really have a good understanding of what the total of the program was going to be. I was thinking I might come away with some budgeting tools and a few other ideas, but I've come out with some almost a total business analysis and management package and some pretty good ideas as to where to go to get more info if I need more. Well, running a farm business is pretty difficult and challenging, and I don't do that well, and I know that, so this has been a good opportunity for me to upskill and learn some new things. I've had some tools before that I haven't implemented well in terms of managing people, and I've started to utilise those. So I've implemented a meeting structure again, which is on Monday mornings we just have a shed meeting. The guys have really appreciated that, and I feel like they now have more connection to the business and more enrolment in the business, just because when we're talking about the meeting, what we're doing for the week, they see our core vision and our values and that sort of stuff, and that's, I think, helping them understand where we're at and what we're here for.
So in FarmElevate, the finance and budgeting side, we made sure was very practical and hands-on for the growers to go through that module. It's not everyone's cup of tea, obviously, but it was really important that to go through this process, they have to have a level of skill set to understand. Many growers are so busy working in the business and not on the business. So the financial and budgeting component is really key to making decisions going forward and looking and making sure they're working on the business.
My perception around farm business has changed in the sense that you don't have to be good at everything. There are people out there to help you, and we just needed to identify what we didn't enjoy doing or what we're not good at, and that we can ask for support and then just focus on the things that we are good at. Since doing the program, we realised that our weaknesses lie in the financial planning of the farm. So we now have a bookkeeper coming monthly to help us, and we've engaged with a financial planner. I feel really excited about the future, and I know that even though we are a small scale farm, that with tightening up everything and with support of financial help, we can really make this work.
When you are talking about risk management, it is about looking not only at drought resilience, but it's also looking at the adaptability of climate and how producers with their farms, with their businesses, can actually adapt to things like drought, things like climate and how that's changing, but also in terms of how they assess risk and how they view risk within day-to-day operations.
With risk management, we hadn't actually implemented that into our business plan, which I think is really important because anything can happen on a farm. So we have implemented risk management strategies like someone was to pass away, what would we do in that scenario? Who does the farm go to? And that also leads into succession planning too. The key lessons that I have learnt is that there is a lot more when it comes to business planning that I hadn't already thought about. For example, risk management and even mental health. So I think living and working for my parents, there's definitely challenges. So just learning how we could cope better with that is really good. Some of the things I've learnt from the program is even just how to speak to each other, communicate and plan through meetings, and just communicating better is definitely something that we have implemented.
So obviously it's really important that we don't only have healthy businesses, but we have healthy minds, and that is number one in terms of making sure that the health of the people working in this program are right placed, not only from a skill set perspective, but mentally well prepared.
One of the most useful modules for me was the second module, which talked about the psychology of farming and and being able to identify things in your life that you need to sort out before you can actually get on with what you want to do, and that you just can't push them under the carpet, that they'll come back at some stage. The reason I found that beneficial was because it's not really something that you think about, and being, I guess, male and farmer, you tend to just push things aside and, she'll be right, mate, type attitude, and it's the wrong one. My thinking's shifted because I now like to talk about a bit more about what the issues are that are facing us in the future, and that obviously helps solve that problem as much as I can. The program's helped me because it's given me confidence to ask for help rather than just bottle it up, and there are plenty of people willing to help you.
What I found most beneficial about the social side of the program was just really talking to farmers, especially on a really down-to-earth level due to the nature of some aspects of the course, especially when it came to mental health and resilience to issues that arise in the farming envelope.
Part of GGA's success criteria here was making sure that the program was fit for purpose. We know that many of our businesses out there are dealing with families, and it's important that families are incorporated into the business, but also their community at large. Having a conversation about family business is actually a day-to-day activity, but this program has really unpacked some conversations around what good looks like for a family, managing expectations for a family, but also even in terms of the business structures have really come into the conversations.
I think the program offered a lot. It had such variety, and I think that's really good to sort of help people with all sorts of different learnings. Some of the modules I really appreciated were things like the flourishing families. I think the fact that we're bringing our young daughter on board now and encouraging her to understand how a farm business operates, not just doing the farm work. I think we spend too much time in the business instead of on the business. So getting her in right from the start at 21, I think has been really good, and it helped us understand the dynamics of each other and how to work better together.
I think it's really nice to know that my parents are giving me this opportunity to prove myself, and that I do want to run the business one day once they're ready to retire. So I think going to these workshops with my parents and my mum mainly, it definitely also gives us a chance to bond over something we are both very passionate about.
The key focus, or very much front and centre, was the drought component. And while some businesses today might not have experienced drought is very important from a planning perspective and ensuring that they have resilience around their business. So in terms of drought resilience or climate variability, it's really important that we bring the risk matrix into this and what it potentially may look like.
We are in a fairly safe drought area here. In saying that, prior to the course, we had already been looking at building resilience around the starts of our seasons. They seem to be getting a little bit more sporadic. So looking at confinement leading up to and around lamb drop so that we can let our pastures establish. I feel like my approach to the farm management as a result of the course will be a slow path and a slow migration. Like a lot of the aspects are not something that I'm fully up to speed with, so we'll take a bit of time, but I believe they're definitely worth putting the time and effort in.
FarmElevate was rolled out by Grower Group Alliance in June 25 and completed by October 25. So it's a very fast and furious program which had quite some demanding deadlines, but we are really pleased to know that 70 agribusinesses actually took part in this program. But including in that was over 130 participants, which was outstanding because this is a really key component of building the human capacity within our networks. We really are supportive and championing the fact that this program continues, and know there's a need out there with our producers to really build strong, sustainable businesses in an economic, in an environmental and in a wellbeing component that leads farmers very strongly into the future, and also ensuring they are set up for drought resilience and they are set up for longevity within their businesses.
Completing the program for me personally, I think reminds me that I am capable of doing a lot, It is a lot to take on the family business with your parents at such a young age, and being able to work and live with them at the same time. So it does remind me that I do have the confidence and courage to take on this big project.
Overall, the program's really given me more focus on where I can take the business, and also what's important to us as a family on this farm, and I guess to look to the future about what the possibilities are.
It's very easy to get stuck looking at what's going on and the problems and putting out fires everywhere. This program has been really, really great for just stepping from the 2,000 foot view to the 30,000 foot view.